Let's remove this note taker.
Ooh, I think we're live.
So doing it done, directing call. I gotta pause this. Okay, pause that and then actually go admit all.
There we go.
And then
Everybody's on time this morning. Look at them.
decline that recording. Didn't get them all out of there.
Love
Okay,
it. I
I'm
see
gonna
friendly
record.
faces already. Hey, Isabel. Hey, Bonnie. Nina. Good to see you guys. Hi, John. Friendly faces all around. I like getting to see my peeps. Wendy needs to travel more often and get to hang out with the cool
Hanging
kids
out.
Tuesday.
No one's popping in. We're recording.
Adrian, love seeing her smiling face whenever I get the chance to be on a call. Debbie,
Hi.
you, Suma, nice to see you. Here we go. All
Oh, we
right,
need to get
we've
some
got 16.
cameras on out there. Everyone put your cameras on.
Yeah, I do much better seeing faces.
So we're talking to people.
Yeah, well, not only that, but this topic in particular can make eyes glaze over. And then I know I need to like pump the brakes, go back. All right, and we'll cover it again. But my goal today is I got big shoes to fill. How many of you were on the Phil Stringer call last week?
Hey.
Okay, can we just take a moment to fangirl Phil Stringer? Like he's amazing. And I was on that call and I'm like, I use AI all the time. I've heard Phil before. I mean, I'll admit it. And I'm listening to the replay and I have 2 pages of notes as a result. So I was like, okay, there's always something to learn. So if you weren't on the call last week, I strongly encourage you to go back, listen to the replay. You can zip right through it. And the one takeaway I had from all of that was you guys really need to upgrade to the pro version of ChatGPT. It makes life so much easier. And it's $20. It's like 3 trips to Starbucks. It's not worth the headache of the workaround. And so maybe you're not sure what AI you want to use yet. If you're going to use Google's version, if you're going to use, these different things, it's fine. It's just land on something and lean into it because it's like the difference between using a different VA every time you have a task that you want it to perform versus having your own personal assistant that starts to think with your brain. The less we have to manage things like that, the better. And to me, that's well worth $20. So today I thought what would follow up Phil Stringer that would be helpful. So if you did what he told you to do last week and you put those things in action, today's prompts are going to work extremely well for you. If you haven't done it, that's okay. You might have to work with the prompts a little bit, but I wanted to think of tasks that busy real estate agents complete on a daily/weekly basis that AI could help them with. And they're really good places for you to start if you're a beginner. They're great places for you to refine if you've been using AI for a while. Maybe I'm going to give you some tips and tricks today to make your prompts spit out a better result. But AI is all about what you put into it in order to get what you want out of it. I need you to hear that. Your ability to use AI will develop as quickly as you do. And so these are great places for you to start. And some of them will be things that you've heard before, maybe with a couple of twists. And some of them, maybe you never thought of using AI this way. So we're going to go through, I'm going to crank through 10 of them. I have a giveaway for you. I have an invitation to do a deeper dive tomorrow on this same topic, but going deeper into additional prompts around these topics. So Joanne's going to drop a link for you. Joanna, sorry, I left your A off. She's going to drop a link for you to go ahead and download those and get access to those so that you have them. So I'm going to go ahead and get started and share some slides. And maybe you could kick us off while I'm booting up my slides and let me know how you are using, like what task are you using AI for all the time? Go ahead, type that in chat. Like, what are you using pretty regularly now? What is it? If you're driving, don't do that. Eve, my eyes are on you. Better be watching the road over there. Okay. So scripts. Okay. Suma said scripts. What else? What are you
Newsletter.
guys leaning into AI for? Adrian, what was that?
I do my newsletter,
Okay.
ideas if I want to know what people are basically Googling, sellers. What are sellers Googling lately in the last month? And I use some of that information to do some of my videos.
Oh, I like that a lot. Social media descriptions, fine-tune listing descriptions, cleaning up my writing style. I think my 11th grade English teacher is just dying whenever she reads anything I write. She probably knows it's all AI now. Bonnie says using it to do content so it sounds more like her, right? It helps ignite your creativity. And so I'm going to share some tweaks to what you're doing with regard to these things, and then I'm probably going to add a couple more for you, and then I'm sure a couple more will come up just through conversation. So let's go ahead and get started. We'll dive right in. I don't have Wendy as a filler today, so you guys just have to lean on me today. This is a lot of pressure. While she's
I
probably
know,
had
right?
breakfast on the beach, she's probably like have a mimosa in her hand right now. All right. So the first thing is, can everybody see my screen okay?
Yeah.
You can see the slide okay? All right, guys. So if we've not met before, and even if we have, my name is still Stacey McVey. I'm an implementation coach. I run an online community called the Rebel Agent Posse. I am lucky enough to count the likes of Wendy as my very close friends and colleagues here at EXP. We're on a call together every morning. We've collaborated a number of times on things. And so I really cherish the times I get to come talk to you guys and hang out and share some of what I know. I'm usually known for Bomb Bomb, and this using AI has really helped me use Bomb Bomb more, because I can create more content much more quickly, not worry about typos, not worry about formatting and things like that. And I can really bring my ideas to light using a lot of the prompts that I'm going to show you today. So those things go hand in glove. I want you to think about AI as your partner in making the things you're already using work better for you. So go ahead and jump in here. If you have your phone, you want to scan that QR code, great. If you want to use the chat to grab whatever link is in there that you can use to download the resources, you're welcome to do that. I'll leave that here for just a minute if you want to scan that. I know a lot of people like to have their screen up so they can follow along with what they're talking about and then have something on a phone or iPad. So I thought I would give it to you this way as well. Give you just another minute there. Okay. All right. So we're going to kick it right off. 10 of these for you today. One is writing listing descriptions. Now, I had a friend of mine do a little bit of research recently, and he said that AI, because so many of us are using it for the same thing, is starting to settle into certain words that it uses all the time. Okay, so this is trivia time. What word appears in over 80% of listing descriptions generated by AI? Anyone want to take a guess? What word keeps showing up?
Nestled.
That's not it, but that is a very popular one. I see nestled a lot. AI is all about the nestling. All right, what else? Anyone else got a guess? Anyone else got a guess? Let me look in chat here. Anyone got a guess? They put it in chat. Stunning, charming, chef, kitchen, boast, nestled. Okay, it's none of those. You guys are going to laugh when I tell you what it is. You ready? Serene.
Yes. Okay.
Serene. Now I want to ask you, when was the last time you used the word serene in your real language? Like in your real life, when you weren't on vacation, right? So it's going to use these words over and over and over again. So when you look at some of these, Carrie, I hope this finds you well. Every email ever, it starts with, I hope this finds you well. Yeah, I hate that. So when you go through these words, guys, these are the words that you're going to ask it to exclude, okay? And let's pick apart this prompt really quick. It's going to write a listing description. Now, this is Mad Libs style. I had it, how many of you remember Mad Libs from when we were kids? Like you fill in the blank, right? So I'm like, what would make it easy for people? We're going to do it Mad Libs style. These are written Mad Libs style. So write A, and then you're going to pick what tone. Professional, warm, luxurious, fun, conversational. Remember, they're reading it in a casual setting, usually on the fly, often on a phone. Okay, so remember that. I know the seller wants you to pack in every little detail into those comments, but remember where these comments are appearing, and remember that you want to match your tone. I'm all about lifestyle. When I'm talking about listing descriptions, I want to give them a feel for what it's like there, and not necessarily just a regurgitation of all the listing information, right? It's, you know, that's already somewhere else in the listing, so I'm not worried so much about that. But what are the standout features? What are the lifestyle things that they might be concerned about? I had a buyer consultation with someone last week, and he's like, I'm going down to take a look at this little beach town in Florida. And he's like, I need to figure out what neighborhoods feel like home to me based on where I live now, where the pharmacy, the grocery store, all the little amenities that he's used to having close by, he wants to have in retirement. So he's going down to kind of scope that out. So proximity to things that are important to people, proximity to lifestyle things, bike trails, beaches, whatever it is. People don't exactly know, you know, just because something's in a town doesn't tell them where in town and what's close by. Can their kids walk to school? Are there parks nearby? Is there a dog park nearby? Whatever. So definitely filling in these features will help you get a better result out of chat. Okay. So it's perfect for, and then think about your ideal buyer. It's perfect for an active lifestyle, for busy people who need things convenient to them, whatever, and it'll smooth out that language for you. If you have a word limit count, you can add the word limit count. A lot of you aren't doing that. If you have a limited number of characters, you want to make sure that in your AI prompt, you have a limited number of characters. All right. Avoid using and then input the words you want to leave out. Life hack, go look in chat. Those are several of them. Keep the description, focus on lifestyle benefits, avoid cliches. That's a good way to get rid of a lot of that clunky language that keeps appearing in everyone's description. End with a strong call to action to encourage a showing. Okay. Now, some of your CTAs are going to be governed by your MLS rules. So you want to be careful there. Okay. You can't just call out, call me at, you know, my name. You can't have any agent name or any phone number, any web address, any email in our MLS descriptions. That's how it is in our world. And we only get one description. We don't get like a private one and a public one like some places do. So I have to be very careful about my CTAs, right? But schedule your showing or easy to show, like schedule it today, whatever, have a strong CTA in the end. All right, that should clean things up for you. Once you get the response, you want to go ahead and go back in and refine it. Okay. And this is where I think agents kind of fall down. We are great at smacking a prompt in, but we don't know how to work with it in a conversational way once we get a response. We're like, well, that's not right. That didn't work. And they'll smack the prompt in again. Don't do that. Just ask it to rewrite or regenerate and make these changes and get it back again. Now, when it starts to kick out what you're looking for, this is the hack. When it starts to kick out what you're looking for, you want to say, now, write a prompt for me that will create these exact, that will recreate, you know, this answer in the future, and then store that somewhere if you're using a free version. But you're going to refine your own prompt over time. Some of you like really elevated, polished language. You're probably going to do most of yours that way. Some of us are more casual and conversational in our tone. We're going to make most of our listing descriptions sound like that because we want it to sound on brand for us. If you are looking for something that's a little more conversational, the word edgy works great. So when I'm drafting stuff and I want it to sound like the way I talk and the way I communicate with people, I use the words edgy tone. And that gives me something that sounds a little bit more like me. You know, I'm from the Midwest. We use all these farm animal references here, colloquialisms, all these things. And so, you know, if you want it to sound more like you and you have not trained your chat and uploaded, you know, transcripts and things like that, like Phil suggested last week, you do want to make sure that when you finally get it to create what you want, ask it to create that prompt based on what you've come up with through that conversation. Save that somewhere to a Google document, and this will make it much easier for you going forward. All right, let's get to the next one. How about this one? A follow-up email to a lead who's ghosted you. How many of you have a bunch of leads that have gone very quiet? They're not saying it. Suma's laughing. Suma, do you know people that have ghosted them?
Yes.
All right, so I think we all have these people right now. Like, we could probably spend the rest of the day today coming up with ways to contact these people. Now is a great time to contact these people to find out if they are still in the market. We don't want to alienate them, but we want to do a check-in. All right, so here's the prompt. Again, Mad Lib style. Write pick your tone, follow-up email for a lead who inquired about either buying or selling, enter the area, but hasn't responded in the last couple of days, the last week, the last month, or whatever. The lead was interested in, and then have the specific home type or location. Just type that in real quick. Keep it short, engaging, and non-pushy. I like all of those. You can choose one, or you can, you know, have all three. Short is important when you're trying to re-engage a ghosted lead, a cold lead, something really short. They don't know you. They don't know why they should invest that much time in reading your content. Think about that with your drip campaigns also. In the beginning, those should be really short emails. You know, I know you want to prove your value by sharing a whole bunch of shit with them. Don't do that. It needs to be short so that they can read it and then go, oh, they're asking me something, I need to respond, before they overthink answering you. Okay. Make it easy to reply. Here again, put in the words you want to exclude and include a low pressure call to action. Maybe you don't know what a low pressure call to action would be. You can brainstorm with AI to find out what kind of low pressure CTAs you could use. Okay, one might be downloading an attached guide or something like that. Sherry asks, can you use this for text also? Absolutely. You absolutely can. And if you look at what I shared with you guys, if you go to my stand store, there'll be an icon. It says AI. Just fill out your name and stuff. So I know you came from Tech Tuesday, and you'll be able to download it right away. And you'll see for each one of these, there's a bunch of sub prompts for texts and all kinds of things. So you can absolutely use it for text.
It would make a
Okay.
good bomb video too.
Heck yeah. Go, John. Go, John. My bomb team standing out there. Bonnie, you're slacking. You should have said it first. Oh, she's on the phone. Okay. The next one, AI generated social media captions. Okay. This is a big one. If you don't have, I'm going to assume you're using ChatGPT because it's the one I've had the most luck with. I do shell out the $20 a month, well worth my time and money to save time, I guess I should say, in sharing for my social media captions. Having that app on my phone, and it makes it so easy to get a caption into Instagram. All right. And, or into anywhere, but I'm working on Instagram right now, thanks to Liz Brown in film school. And if you're not in film school, you should be in film school with the rest of us. Having that chat right in there makes it so simple, and it'll change your world. I promise you, especially once it learns what type of voice you want to respond in. I fancy myself to have a sense of humor, so I want my stuff to be edgy and funny. That's my thing. So however you want to appear, make sure that you have your AI trained on that. And then again, as you refine these prompts, you can ask it to tell you how to prompt itself next time to get the end result you guys came up with. Don't forget that hack as you go through. Okay. So this is a really easy one. The other thing that you can do instead of mad-libbing this, and filling this in, is just use this prompt and then smack in the MLS description if you want to use that. So oftentimes I'll do the MLS description first, and then right in the same sitting, I'll bang out all the social media captions, the script that I want for the video, everything right then and there. Okay, so if you're going to do that, maybe you're doing a reverse prospecting email, have a little checklist of all the things you do and bang it all out at once. Instead of on Monday, you do the MLS description, then you go back on Thursday and you're like, oh, let me make a social media caption. Why not put all that in a bucket, batch it all together so you have all of that content for that listing ready to rock and roll? Okay, I tend to get better results that way because it's focused on that listing. It's focused on that data. If I jump around a little bit between multiple listings, then that's when things can get a little hairy. So sometimes if you batch something, you're going to have better luck. All right. AI powered email newsletters. So if you are doing a newsletter, this is where you need to have, I believe, a template. So know what blocks or features you're going to have in your email newsletter, and then use this prompt to get that out. I also want to let you know you can use sites. House Logic is one of my favorites if you want to pull out home maintenance tips or something like that. You can upload that information into chat. So you don't have to any longer link to the article on houselogic.com, which by the way is provided as part of your NAR dues. I don't know if you guys use that. It's meant for you to rip off and duplicate that content. You'll notice there's no advertising on houselogic.com, anything like that. There's great content and it's searchable so that you can go through there and pull some things out. So now next level that by taking that content and uploading it into chat for your newsletter. And it'll rewrite it. It'll make it shorter. It'll make it sound like you. Maybe it can create something and make it into more of a checklist. So that's a way that you can make your newsletters go faster. And I'm going to show you a way to make market statistics easier. Okay. But this is really, really an easy way. If you're going to do a newsletter, most of them derail after a couple of them go out. Most agents stop doing them because it's a pretty heavy lift. So have the blocks and features that you're going to have all the time, make it consistent in a template, and then have prompts for those sorts of things so that you know what's going on. Have you guys used AI to go out and search for like events going on in your area and compiling a list for you that you can put in social media on Fridays or Saturday mornings? Have you guys done that yet? What? Oh. If
No,
you're tired of bleeding from your freaking eyeballs, okay, trying to figure out what to post on social media, this is going to be a game changer for you.
Okay.
So you can go out and ask it, what are 10 things that are happening in Cleveland, Ohio this weekend? And then, yes, you do have to be careful about the year of the event. And get that information so that you can put it in a newsletter. Okay. And I think the other thing too is if you give it the websites where you want it to source, like I know in cleveland.com has a ton of current events going on. Scene Magazine by me has a lot of the current events. So if I add the date and the different websites that I want it to look, it'll tell me exactly, where I want to go rather than just throwing out a general thing, and then all of a sudden it's giving me dates from 2017 about a fish fry. No, I want to know the fish fries that are on for this Friday in Cleveland, and it'll give you all of that. So think about the things that you always wished you could do, but it's very time consuming. AI can take a lot of that off your plate. Here again, you want a strong hook. Clickbait worthy headlines in your newsletter will definitely help. Make sure you're providing value and a clear call to action. Make sure also throw in those words that you don't want to use, right? And it'll learn pretty quickly not to tell me, like when I'm doing coaching emails, if I see like words like game, level up, crush, I hate those words. And they kept coming up. And I'm like, why is this happening? Well, when I looked back at how I trained my AI and I said in the style of, and I listed certain people, that's why those words kept coming up. So you have to be careful. Garbage in, garbage out, put better stuff in, you're going to get better stuff out. All right. Bonus points if you can figure out who used the word crush that I wanted to style after how I trained my AI, if you know who that was. All right. Turning notes into a follow-up plan. This is a big one. So how often are you out at a property? You're taking notes, you're taking photos, you're doing all of those things. I had a walkthrough yesterday for a listing and I was like, okay, I'm going to go through here. He's got a lot of things to tighten up before we put this thing on the market. He's a contractor, so all the work he does is beautiful, but the house he lives in is a train wreck, kind of like the cobbler's children who have no shoes. So we went through and I had, all this stuff in Apple Notes. Well, now I can take that and paste that into AI with this prompt. And now it'll summarize all my notes for me, and writing that follow-up plan email becomes a lot easier. So how many of you do something like that where you do the walkthrough, you're taking notes on your phone, jotting some things down, and then you go back and you're like, okay, now I got to type all this up, and it takes time, right? So if you could have a prompt that you could deploy, upload the contents of those notes, that's a game changer. And it could happen really quickly, really quickly. Now you have documented exactly what you guys talked about, and they know what their checklist is. Okay, Adrian? You're back at your house. It's like magic.
Yeah, exactly. All right. So what I also suggest, if you have ChatGPT on your phone, you can dictate it as you walk in the property and save that to include it in this prompt.
Absolutely. 100% you can. Or you can even dictate it right into Apple Notes. John says you can also ask Chat to format it in a certain way. That's right, a 3-column table or article with a headline, brief description, and long form description. Or you can ask for a checklist. And that's extremely helpful. And you'll see some of that in the expanded prompts that are in the download that I had for you. It's really helpful too when you put this together. If you're working with someone that needs more direction, and our notes are usually some kind of shorthand. To Adrian's point, maybe you're going through and you're just dictating it. The nice thing is if you ask it to get more detailed, it'll get more detailed. And then all you have to do is refine it. So if you're like, I wrote tile on the basement steps, it's just shattered to bits. And he's like, yeah, I was going to do that next year. I'm like, well, you're going to be doing it this year before we put this house on the market. So I just have shorthand in there, right? But I'm going to ask it to expand it. And I'm going to put a recommendation in there that I want, I want it to match the laminate in the kitchen. So what I want you to think about is, number one, when you're doing your dictating, put down a complete thought. And then number two, when you go back, you can ask it to expand things if you want, and then just go in and make a few refinements. Okay. I asked him to paint the house yesterday. I swear, guys, the house is white and it has mustard yellow trim. And I mean mustard yellow. The front door is mustard yellow. The trim around the windows is mustard yellow. And I told him he needed to paint the house. And he says to me, the trim too? And I'm thinking, the trim is the reason you need to paint the whole house. So if you just say paint the house, he would have painted that house and left that gorgeous circa 1966 mustard yellow trim for me to try to market, right? So being specific can really help people. We don't want to assume that they know what we mean, and AI can definitely help you with that and creating that follow-up plan. All right, quick CMA summary. How many of you are doing unsolicited CMAs? Anyone sending out real estate reviews? Okay, so you can use AI to give you a CMA summary. You can upload, if you have, like, you do the one-liner report out of your MLS, you can upload that and have it analyze that. This says, create a clear, concise, comparative market analysis summary for a buyer or seller in the whatever neighborhood. How many beds, how many baths, notable features, how many comps, okay, and summarize those comps. You want the average sale price, the price per square foot, if that's relevant in your market. That is irrelevant in my market because our auditors are all over the place and it's not accurate. We don't sell by price per square unless you're building that or commercial. Okay. Yes, it will convert. If you upload a PDF, it'll analyze it and it'll even spit out a PDF for you if you ask it to. Once, make sure it's got the data that you want, and then it'll spit out a PDF. Days on market, market trends, definitely using the information provided by RPR. It'll summarize the market for you. You can add that in here easily. And then you want to know how many words you want it to be. So let it know how long. If you've got just a little space for comments or remarks to summarize all that stuff, you know what the character count or word count is. Maybe you're using a template somewhere. Maybe you're using some market analysis software, but you don't like what it automatically spits out. You want to customize that, that's fine, but tell it how long you want it to be. All right. And then include a takeaway about pricing strategy. This would be one of those things, guys, that I would want to train my AI on, what my pricing strategy is. So I use one that's probably different than what you guys use. I look at the actives and the pendings. I'm more concerned with that than the comparables. And I look at what's selling and what's not selling. And then I figure out where we need to be in the active market, and I'll go slightly below where I believe fair market value is, because my job is to attract eyeballs, get agents excited about my listings, and have them advocate for their buyer to write a strong offer without a lot of hair on it. So that's what I'm trying to accomplish. So if you have a pricing strategy that you use, plug that into the prompt, make sure that you're getting out the result you're looking for, work to refine that. And then again, the hack at the end, ask it to prepare a prompt so that you can get the final result after you refined it over and over and over again. That'll be unique to you. That's going to be really important. That way you don't have to fill in all these blanks every single time. Okay, with the tone and what your strategy would be and all of that good stuff. Using that can be really, really helpful. And it'll save you a ton of time, especially if you're doing unsolicited CMAs and you're trying to crank out, several of those a day, or, maybe 10 to 12 a week. This is a way to pump those out so that it becomes a sustainable thing for you and you can be consistent with getting those out. All right. Okay. Someone said generating scripts, and I'm going to share something with you. I don't know if he's on the call. My coaching client, Chris Jameson, actually created a chat for script and role play. So he wanted to have a role play partner. And right now we talked about getting better with scripts with asking open-ended questions. That we talked a lot about that on yesterday's coaching call, not asking yes or no questions. So how awesome would it be to come up with some scripts using a prompt like this, and then being able to practice that script with AI giving you commonly held objections, or you could certainly put in objections that stump you every single time, and being able to chat back and forth with your role play partner. So writing scripts, you can absolutely do it, but think to the next level. What would it be like to be able to practice your scripts by having an AI thought partner that's programmed with the most likely objections that a lead is going to have? How cool would that be? You can even program it to maybe make you give you 3 objections before letting you set an appointment. Focus on what you need to improve and have it analyze you and give you feedback on that. That could be huge, especially for those of you who are really self-conscious about practicing with someone else, or maybe you get all flubbed up and you just need to work out the kinks. This would be a great way to do it. Maybe you're incorporating something new into your business, like calling expireds or calling for sale by owners. You haven't done that before. This would be a great way to do it. Maybe you're going to start sending out real estate reviews and you want to work with the scripts that are in Ninja Selling, but you really don't have anyone to practice with, or just aren't interested in practicing with someone else. You want to start by getting confident in those scripts before you role play with a partner. This is a great way to do that. All right. Jean, see you. Let's see. That was really huge. Boy, do I need that. Are we talking about the script and role play partner? Yeah. All right.
Yes.
Here's another one. Okay. Organizing a brain dump into an actionable list. How many of you have like a notepad like this sitting around and all day you just kind of write things on it, right? Or you have something in Apple Notes or whatever. You can take the following unorganized list of real estate tasks and organize them into a clear prioritized task list. Brain dump, and you can just paste your notes in there. It doesn't have to be in any logical order. And then you can ask it to sort for you. Urgent, important but not urgent, and something that's nice to do, but it could be put on the back burner. Format as a simple checklist with deadlines. Sometimes, guys, what happens is you're at the end of the day and you've been collecting all of this. And it's really hard as salespeople because we do have those high D and high I personality profiles. And if you don't know what I'm talking about, it's a DISC test that you can take to figure out what of the 4 personality profiles you lead with. But if you have the typical salesperson profile, you're a high I or a high D, you have a really hard time doing this part. If you're an S or a C, this is like your happy place. Oh, I love making lists. This is great. I just want to organize all my thoughts and I want to have little post-it notes everywhere. And okay, if that's you, love it. You can skip to the next prompt. For a lot of us, things come up throughout the day that cause us to need to reprioritize. They just do. So going back at the end of the day, inputting everything and then asking it to help you as your thought partner reprioritize can help you organize your thoughts and be ready for the next day, because your priorities are always changing throughout the day based on what email you open, based on what phone call you get, whatever. So if you are looking to always be focusing on the most important things, you need to reprioritize, and AI can help you do that. Okay. Yes, it's being recorded. All right. Writing a quick video script. Okay. So how many of you see those really cool videos and you're like, where are these people getting these ideas? How are they doing these video scripts? And perhaps you're like me and I am not interested in reading off a teleprompter. If you want to see me screw up video quick, make me read a teleprompter, because now all of a sudden I feel like I have to get it perfect. if I take that pressure off, I do much better and I can record better video and usually right off the cuff. But what I do is I plan out what I'm going to say. I say it to myself a couple of times before I start recording. So whether you're the literal person where you want a script that's like word for word, line by line, that's fine. And then you can load whatever script it is into Big View on your phone and read the teleprompter, no judgment. People fall in one of two buckets. There's no right, no wrong. The only wrong thing is to not make video because you don't know what to say. That's the only wrong answer here. So whatever's going to work for you, but even if you're just an off the cuff person, but you just want to round out your ideas or maybe make sure there's not something else you could say or a better way to say it, a better hook in the beginning, you can use AI to help you write a video script. A lot of you have already done this. You've tried this. And so what you've got is you can write the script in whatever tone you want. Make sure you give it a time limit. Now, this is important based on what platform you're recording for. So if you're trying to include like something for Instagram, you're trying to stay in that 30 to 60 second range, that's going to be a big deal. Here you want the hook. It's giving you the structure. You're telling it what structure you want. I need a hook. And I like clickbaity stuff. All right. Grab attention with a bold statement or a question. Your main content, provide quick, valuable insight, and then have a call to action. You need to have a CTA. So we were learning, I had a class last week in our community. We have the replay of it if you're interested. We were talking about the importance of actually using CTAs in your Instagram reels to like, save, or comment. Like, save, or comment. Forget tagging someone you know who needs this. Don't do that. Like, save, comment. Those are the weightiest on the Instagram algorithm. Like, save, comment. And so try and do that early. Don't wait till the end to do that. You know, you're going to want to save this right now for later, for when you have time to do the thing or whatever, you know, like this, or follow. Follow can also be important if you're going to provide exclusive content in your stories. If you don't know anything about what I'm talking about and you're with Wendy's organization, you should be in film school. You'll learn all about this stuff. But really, like, you want them to take action. So make sure you're including a CTA, whatever that's going to be. If you're recording it for BombBomb, maybe you have an event, you want people to register. Make sure you're saying it in the beginning and you're saying it at the end. But don't just wait for the end. Don't just wait for the end. They'll miss it. Okay, the further ahead in the script the CTA is, the better. It doesn't have to sound super salesy at all, but you can just say, save this for later, for when you're looking for ideas on X or whatever. And the thing I always think of is like recipes. Like, I don't know, I'm a foodie nerd. And so I'm always on Instagram and I'm looking up, you know, different recipes for things and I save those. That's what I do. That's the action I take. I'll follow people and then save it. But what if you asked people to follow you so they could get exclusive behind the scenes looks or content on your stories because now they follow you? So just think that through a little bit. Have your call to action. Direct your viewers on what to do next. That's super important. And then again, if there are words that you just would not say, like serene or boast or delve, then maybe you want to cue it in as to what not to say. And then it's going to kick out a script. Now, if you're the kind of person who wants a detailed script, like open with a shot of a person walking down the street and then somebody's opening a door and says blah, 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 it'll do that for you. I'm not that person. So what I add to this is I just put it in bullet points for me. Just give me the hook, give me the bullet points that I need to make sure I hit. And that gives me everything I need to practice enough to fire it up and record my video. Okay, so you can do it either way. Either way. How many of you have used a video script? Have you used AI to create one yet? Suma, how did that work out for you?
It's good actually. It saves the time and It's in a proper format. I like
Yeah.
it.
Yeah. And sometimes it's just, if you're not using AI to come up with clickbait style email subject lines, pre-headers, and hooks, you're missing the boat. When you're creating content, like ask it that stuff. And some of it is complete cheese. Like it's just garbage, right? It's still, you're gonna be like, that's not gonna work. And you're right, it's not gonna work. But you will find stuff that will work. Or at a minimum, it will get your brain juicy where you start thinking of other ways to do it. Okay, so give that a try. If you haven't tried it, definitely give that a whirl. If you're going to do long form video, that's great. And then you can ask it to create something short form for a reel based on the same topic. Lisa, I also ask it to create a video script based on the social media app I upload to. Correct. Optimize for Instagram, optimize for Facebook. Extremely helpful. Thank you, Lisa. That's a good one. I might have to add that back into my slide. All right. Automating client check-ins. Okay. So this morning I did this. I have my kids that I've sold houses to, and they are all kids lately. I feel like their auntie out there showing them all these houses. So anyone that I've closed on, I sent a text to this morning, like, hey, checking in, do you need anything? How's it going? That kind of thing. All right. So automating your client check-ins, write again, fill in the tone that you want to use. Check-in message for a past client who bought or sold a home within the last week, the last month, the last 6 months, the last year, whatever. Okay. Make it personal and non-salesy. That's important. None of us want to sound like we're selling used cars here. A friendly opening and just maybe a couple of blurbs about their house, something they were planning on doing. Okay. My new couple moved into their house and they sent me a photo. They're like, did you know there was a chicken coop here? And I said, no, I thought that was a shed with a mower in it. Of course, we were looking at houses when we had like 2.5 feet of snow. So none of us trekked out there to see exactly what was in the shed. But apparently it's a bootleg chicken coop that's against city ordinances here, BT dubs. And so they were sending me pictures of the chicken coop. So I might want to, reiterate something about the chicken coop. Maybe I want to tell them a helpful tip. Maybe I remember something about the property. This property in particular, I want to remind them about the furnace filters because the people that moved off had these hairy, woolly mammoth dogs and there were tumbleweeds of dog fur. And I'm like, you need to get that furnace cleaned and you need to order furnace filters for your furnace. So I want to remind them of something like that. Simple CTA, again, inviting engagement, but not too salesy. Okay, whatever that's going to be. If you know me, you know I like to send Starbucks coffee to people. So I'll send them a little Starbucks or please fill out a review or whatever my CTA is going to be. But make it really short and make it super easy for them to reply to. Send me a pic of what you're working on. And then they send you something to be like, can I use that in my social media? Okay, so I got a picture of the tumbleweeds of dog hair and I'm like, can I please use that on Instagram? Like, I so want to make a reel with that, right? Like they pulled off the baseboards and she said, I guess it's just added insulation. I was like, oh my God, that is like, oh. So if they send you something fun or a project that they did, then ask, hey, can I share that on social media, right? That could be really, really cool. Okay. So automate those client check-ins. We need to be checking in with people more often. That's how you're going to get the referrals. All right. Okay. So I want to stop here. Oops. And answer some questions about AI. So what's got you stuck? We have about 10 minutes left. What's got you stuck and is preventing you from using AI? Or do you have a question about whether or not you could use AI for something that you're working on? Let's open it up. Or you can type in chat if you're bashful and you don't want to talk in front of this humongous group of very intimidating people. That's fine too. I will read it in chat. What are you guys trying to do that you want to see if AI can help you use it? Adrian, go ahead.
things that you can do also. I've given several courses and I use ChatGPT to create a syllabus. Once the syllabus is created, I polish it, and then I ask for specific content, and then I sort of polish that. But I think that I think the key here is, I know we're talking ChatGPT. The other large one is Gemini from Google. Everybody's coming up with their own AI, and I would caution people to make one choice and to educate that choice. So if you want to go the ChatGPT way or the Gemini way, which are the largest, educate it and stick to that. Because, Canva has their own and every coach out there has their own, etc. And you run into the same problem. They don't know who you are, and you have to start that process all over again. So that would be my observation.
I think you're 1,000% right. It's like hiring a temp versus having a longtime employee that thinks with your brain.
Exactly.
Okay. And you guys know why all of these companies have their own AI that they've primed for you, because they want that insight. They want to know what you're searching. They want to know what you want to know, right? So there can be advantages to that, but there are definitely disadvantages to that for you. So I don't know about all you, but I like having something that starts to think with my brain and that'll expand on things based on what I've put into it. So I used to pay $700 a month for a VA that I had to micromanage, that I had to go back and proofread, that I had to constantly redo what she was doing. And part of how I work, and I don't know if this will resonate with you guys or not, but this was my huge aha around AI. Working with someone remote, there's a lag in collaboration. I tell you what I want, you go do it, you come back with what you think is going to make me happy. Now I have to look, I had to look her in her little doe eyes, and she's so excited and hopeful that I'm going to love everything she did. And now I'm going to, ask her to kill the baby because I hate everything about it and we need to redo it. But sometimes I don't know that I hate it until I get a draft of it. And then I'm like, no, I don't think I asked the right question. With AI, I get instant feedback and I'm not offending anyone, and I can refine my ideas as I iterate. That is a huge time saver for me, but it also helps me put out a quality product in the end where I'm actually going like step by step. Another thing that I will tell you is that it is torture, and that was it for me. I'm like, I don't care if I had to work another 8 hours a day. I will not deal with that ever again. So for my $20 a month, I replaced my $700 a month VA, and I'm actually putting out better work. So to me, that is a net win, and I don't care, right? Like for all of you who say, I could do it better myself, AI is your savior because it just is the best of you and you're able to get out of it what you need in real time. The other thing that I will tell you is, and Phil shared this last week, and I would make one tweak to what he said. When you're having AI ask you questions about your business or about your course that you're creating or about whatever, he said ask at least 25 questions. If you watched last week, ask at least 25 questions about my business. Okay, ask me at least 25 questions about my business one by one. And here's why. If it gives you a list of 25 things, okay. But what I really want it to do is read my answer and then ask me the next best question based on my answer and what it asked me. And I've done it both ways, and it does come up with different questions. So it's going to read your answer, and then it's going to ascertain what the next best question is to ask, rather than just giving you a list of questions to ask. Another thing that you can do is
Because you're
ask it
training
if
it.
it understands. Go ahead. I'm sorry.
It's because you're training it. When you go that step by step, you're adding to the training. I tell people that AI has been around since 1976. That's when I started, using AI. When you do Siri, find me the closest pizza place, that's AI.
Yeah.
So if you fine tune your questions, you got the right answers. And when you train ChatGPT, and I love what you just said, I even do that. And sometimes when I'm writing a newsletter or whatever, don't let it expel all the content. Is give it to me bit by bit, and then I can tweak it a little bit, and then it gets better. I agree.
Oh, you're going to
Absolutely.
get a much better end product. And I
Yeah.
think that's the difference between people like you guys that are investing the time into learning how to use this and people who are just going to go buy a PDF or download a PDF of prompts and they're going to slap it in and they're going to get a lackluster result back out. You know, ideally, AI is your thought partner. So, The AI Driven Leader is a fantastic book. It was written by the gentleman who took over the business side of the One Thing company when Gary Keller and Jay Papasan wrote the One Thing. He took that over. They started a consulting arm of that business. That is a fantastic book recommended to me by Casey Council. It's phenomenal. You can listen to it and there are great prompts, but here's what's better. He tells you why the prompts work. And the asking questions one by one, complete game changer. Complete game changer. Also, checking in. Do you understand the task that I am asking you to complete? Do you need to ask me any more questions for clarity? That's another one that can help you from beating your head against a wall if it's not spitting out what you need it to spit out. Okay. Anyone else have something they're wondering about how to use AI for? We got time for one more.
Stacey, I have a question.
Go ahead.
So you said you replaced your virtual assistants with the AI. My question to you is, and you said you saved $700 to $20. The question I have is, how do you set it up where I guess being systematic with the posting, systematic with creating the content, and do you put in specific days that you do certain things? And, I just want to understand the system that
Yeah.
you.
So what I was asking her, I mean, everybody asks their VA to do something different. So that's a great question. And my stuff was always content. And when I started working with her, I'm like, look, I wanna create templates. So if we're speaking specifically to social media, I want templates. I want my stuff to be on brand. I don't need like a new arts and crafts project every week. So what I figured out was, and yes, you can train Gemini. Thank you for posting that, Shima. What you do is, I went in and I'm like, what templates do I actually need? And I created those. And most of them I had a pretty good idea. So I did take the time to refine those. But then I needed the content in there, and the content was all AI driven. My email that I would send out. So I get a lot of my coaching clients and people joining our community through my email stuff. So I was using AI for that to create the bodies of those emails. That's what I was hiring her to do, was content and marketing. And so if all I need you to do is push the button, I'll just schedule it in Meta or save it as a draft myself. That way the template looked exactly the way I wanted it to look. I didn't have to play arts and crafts with it anymore. I do batch a lot of what I do. So we don't have VIP today, right, Joanna? So if we go over a couple of minutes, that's okay.
Correct.
Okay.
VIP is canceled for today.
Okay. So I just wanted to make sure, because I want to
Yeah.
make sure I answer this question. So I'll batch stuff. So for example, I have a Canva template for an Instagram reel. I had AI create the caption for that. I paste that in the notes of that template that I created, so that when it's time to actually post it, it's all there. I've got all my drafts ready to go, complete with caption. It's good to go. There's a lot of that I took back on, but it was well worth it because of the time I was saving, having to go back and check everything and and look at all of that. Like it just wasn't worth it for me. So I'm really systematic in what I do and how I do it. I have systems set up for stuff, and then I have AI create the content that needs to be tweaked, email to email, topic to topic, and things like that.
So I guess that's where my weakness is in terms of getting systematic about the whole process. I mean, getting the AIs, the scripts and whatever is fine. We got the gist of it, but getting it implementing them systematically, and do I prepare it a week in advance and then just automatically it gets posted? Is there an app for that? Things like that I'm
Yep.
I'm kind of very lost in doing it.
I understand. So you're like, great, I understand how to get the answer in AI, but how do I save myself time deploying it wherever it's supposed to go? So I have an email scheduler. So any email that I do, newsletter that I do, anything like that, I do all that through BombBomb. So I'm creating it in AI, and then I do a batch and set my BombBomb up for all of that. And I can schedule all those to go out. If you're talking about scheduling social, if you're using a third-party scheduler, like we all did it, we were all excited about it because we could schedule, a thing to go out. I used to use, there was an app called Buffer. There was an app called Hootsuite. We used all these things. Metricool, maybe some of you are using. Meta has their scheduler. That's about as far as I'll go. And I think based on, I'm not the Gap or Pottery Barn. I'm not going to put the pressure on myself to post as much as those things do. If all I'm going to do is post 2 reels a week or maybe 3 reels a week and a couple of static posts, I can do that within Meta's scheduler and with the drafts on my phone. So you gotta remember when you're looking at anyone tell you how they do what they do, and I don't care who it is. I don't care if it's me. I don't care if it's Wendy. I don't care if it's Liz Brown, whoever it is. You have to look at the volume of what they're trying to do to ascertain whether or not you need to scale up into a system like they have, if that makes sense. Right? So if you're just looking to like do a post a day, every other day, you don't need to get all crazy. You can just plan that, in a pretty basic way with Trello. You could even put just a post on your calendar, frankly, on your Google Calendar. You know what I mean? Just reminding you to go do that. Schedule yourself a reoccurring task in Google Tasks. But pick a system that's going to work for you where your eyeballs already are, and that you'll be more apt to execute than if you do yet another thing that you've got to log into, set up, plug in, all of that stuff. That's where it gets really complicated. Nina?
Hi. So when when you said that like you'll create a template and then you paste in notes about what for your social media, where are you pasting those notes in? Are you pasting those in Canva?
Yeah. So right within Canva, there's a little notes section.
I did not know that. Okay.
Yeah, I ripped that off of someone on a YouTube tutorial. That is not my genius idea. And I was like, I never thought of using it that way, but you can. So if you're creating reels or something like that, any static post, and you want to create that caption at the same time, because you're batching your work the way we're supposed to. So we're only doing one thing at a time, and we can let our brain rest and really get in that groove. You just paste that caption right into your notes section. It makes it so much easier to do. And then you have the Canva app on your phone. You just download that, and then you can copy paste your caption that you designed into whatever app, if you're posting on Facebook, posting on Instagram, whatever you're doing. And there's more functionality oftentimes with these apps on the mobile app than on desktop, even though I love my desktop because it's a lot of real estate and I get to see all of it, and move it all around. But if I can do it on my big screen with my old lady eyes, right? And I can see it and I can move it around and make it look the way I want it to look. And then just have it ready to download using the Canva app. And those sync instantaneously too, by the way. It's not like it takes any length of time. I mean, it happens instantaneously. If I make a change on my desktop, it's immediately available on my phone. So that with my AI, and I can just crank through that stuff.
Oh, that's great. Thanks.
Yeah, no, you're certainly welcome. You're certainly welcome. I hope this was helpful. My goal is to save you guys some time. And if you want to take a deeper dive, again, 1 o'clock Eastern tomorrow, we're going a little deeper into these prompts, going a little deeper into a couple of additional prompts, including how to write up your inspection resolutions. Aren't those fun? Where you're asking for repairs and then you got to draft the email to the co-broke and all of that good stuff. So we're going to show you that. We're going to show you a really fun one for personal development that I know will get you excited. So I'm excited about that. Lisa, my
Hey.
other morning buddy.
Yes. What do we do? So to Lavina, I hear her cry. My thing is, if you're concerned about when to implement these things, you should probably years ago when I had a marketing person that worked with me, we would create a schedule, and every schedule was a different subject every month. So that month we knew what we were talking about. So we could effortlessly schedule our content because we already had something in our brains. Because I feel like if we get all this information and we get all these amazing tips and tools, we don't implement them because we're like, oh, when would I say that? What should I say today? What should I say tomorrow? And if you don't have a quick calendar that starts your brain to thinking, okay, January, we're going to talk about new construction. February, we're going to talk about home buyers, and creating that content in advance and then scheduling out when you want to have the conversation. Because I think the biggest thing about social media is the consistency. If you're going to do 2 a week, at least do them 2 a week on Tuesday, then Thursday, or Monday and Wednesday. But keep it consistent so you can build that type of follow up, so you can see what your what are the words? What are the things behind the scenes? Analytics. Keep up with what you're talking about and who it matters to and who's being affected. Because if you're on Monday and then Friday and the next week you do Tuesday and Thursday and you can't catch, it would create some consistency in your crazy real estate life if you knew every Tuesday and Thursday of this month, this is what we're going to talk about. And we already have it laid out, so you're not scrambling and looking for things. And as you add tools coming here every week, you add a new tool, you use that to enhance what you're bringing to the party. But just go ahead and create subjects, so you don't feel like you're all scattered all over the place. And make sure the subjects matter to you in your area, the niche you work, and all the things that come together. It'll start to all come together. But I would advise you create consistency with your scheduling so you don't feel so all over the place and crazy. Because I'm a Tuesday, Thursday girl. It's got to go up at 11 a.m. or 6 p.m. every week. And it's like, then I can follow my analytics to say, hey, this is not working. These things aren't catching. These aren't my people. Let me find a new time that works better for me. But once again, it's still a schedule. And you're not running, trying to figure out what to say, what to do. It kind of, because we're crazy people as real estate agents. We don't have time to come up with new stuff every 5 minutes.
Yeah,
Is-
and if I can speak candidly to that, worry less about the day of the week and the time than putting out good content consistently. Whatever that is, that's like a next level thing where you're worried about the time. Like Lisa's got it in her calendar. She's going to do it either at 11, she's going to do it at 6, but get enough content out there to have something to analyze. See, this is, again, it depending on who you're following, their system is what it is to support what they're doing. And if your goals don't align with what, I'm not trying to be an Instagram influencer. All I'm trying to do is to help some real estate agents have some fun in the business again and being able to bring their great ideas out of the closet and into the sunlight. That's it. That's all I'm doing over here. So I'm not ever going to be like this, whatever. I'm not going to be Glenda. Okay. She's awesome and she has her place in the world. I have mine. And so for me, it's about getting better, making the content. Then I'll worry about the nuances of when to post and stuff like that. But to Lisa's point, have some consistency for yourself. That makes it so much easier. And I'm going to say this too. Use a tracker of some sort so that you know what lever to pull. If you're just like the shotgun approach, like God love you, but it's not going to have the same effect. What she said is absolutely true. Consistency is huge, and then making sure that you've got something that you're tracking and go for that. Right now, I am really interested in getting people's eyeballs on whatever I post for however long it is to go over 50%. And that's a win for me. If I can get a reel where their eyeballs are on it for more than 50% of that reel, I'm a happy girl. If it's a really short reel, I have a much higher standard, right? I want their eyeballs on it almost all the way to the end. But this is something that you need to think about. I'll throw you a bone here. This is something that I'm working on personally that I'm seeing people do. And I'm like, duh, where was my head? Why didn't I think of this sooner? Have a little stockpile of stories. Okay. Have it just plain background, a brand color, and search for your next home and have the link to your website. Download my seller guide, link to your seller guide. Download to my buyer guide, have that. Put that in stories. Tease the fact that follow me for exclusive content and links in my stories. We're not thinking like we're building a mousetrap, and that's exactly what we're doing. So worry less about the time and having a third-party app tell you the optimal time. When you're creating kick-ass content, you're going to be able to tell that stuff for yourself and for your audience. Sherry, you got a question and you hung on for a long time. Your virtual hand has fallen asleep. Go ahead.
No, I was just reiterating Sheila's comment in there. Where is that link for your webinar tomorrow to do the deeper dive?
Oh, nice. If you're in my stand store,
Mhm.
it'll say join the digital deep dive, and
Okay.
you just click on that. It's going to ask you, if you're not already a member of the Rebel Agent Posse, get in there. It's free. There's an AI lab in there also, and there's lots of free content in there. You'll find the class tomorrow under all access events.
Terrific. Thank you.
Yeah, I'm
Terrific
excited.
presentation today. It's so much information. Thank you so much.
Oh, good. Because I'm always like, I'm talking to myself over here when I'm creating this stuff. So I'm glad to hear it worked out for you. Any other questions since we have a
One
bonus?
quick one. Yeah.
John, yes.
Just one thing. You know how you mentioned using AI and putting in Canva and doing notes, and then could you do a workflow of AI to Canva to whatever the destination on a site or a Facebook post or whatever?
Meaning,
Just
go a little
the
deeper.
the workflow. So I'm asking ChatGPT a few questions. I get whatever I'm trying to get. I put it in Canva, and I've done whatever I need to do in Canva to get a template set up, and now I've got notes in it, and then I put it just so to have an actual workflow for that process.
Oh, yeah. So you're asking me to create a checklist for that?
That kind of thing. Yeah. Yeah.
Heck yeah, I could do that.
Okay.
For you, I mean, you're on my BombBomb team. Why wouldn't I do that?
Well, you're so wonderful. That's why I'm on your BombBomb team.
I get to coach wonderful people. So, I think
Okay.
those people keep me on my toes. So I think
There
you
you
have
go.
something to do with that. So yes, I can absolutely create a workflow for you on that.
So how do
Super.
we get into your BombBomb team?
Oh, well, if you're someone who's interested in BombBomb, again, in my stand store, you would just look. We have monthly and we have a yearly subscription for that. We offer coaching with it, which is every week. We have a build it with me session. We have over 200 templates in there, and then I show you how to do all the things. And ironically, BombBomb works great with AI and Canva. So between those three tools together, there's pretty much nothing you can't do. So if it's something you're interested in, you can always ping me. You can ask me a question in the community, or certainly explore the stand store. There's more on that. So I have a legacy account with BombBomb, which means mine has features you can't get anymore. So BombBomb Plus account with 2,500 contacts, coaching, and all the goodies. I think it's $5.99 a year, or you can go monthly on it. So it's cheaper than you can get it on BombBomb, and it has way more support and stuff. So you're welcome to join in if you would like to be part of that too. All right. All right, guys.
Thanks so much, Stacey.
Thank you. I hope you guys have a great day today. Looking forward to helping you in any way I can. If you're watching this later, you can always ask questions on the comments, and I'll watch and I'll be glad to answer. Have a good one, guys.
Wendy will be back next Tuesday. We're going over AI video editing tools.
All nice and tan.
Yes.
She'll be nice and tan.
100%. She'll be all well rested.